In its original use, woke was a warning to be aware of social injustice or racial prejudice. In fact, the singer Led Belly, you guys are going to love this, used it in an interview discussing an incident in Alabama where 9 black teenagers, ages 13 and 19, were accused of raping 2 white women on a train. They each received prison or death sentences, even after one of the women recanted her testimony. His warning was to stay woke, and this is back in the 30s. He acknowledged a bias in how different races were viewed, and naturally the term became popular with conversations around racial inequality becoming more common in the last few years. But why did it go mainstream? Josh, I'm curious, like, why do you think this became an everyday term?
Why it became an everyday term? It's an easy one to remember, right? I mean, using "stay woke," it's something that becomes a buzzword because it's so easy to use, but it gets used too flippantly.
Like you just slap it on
You
everything.
slap it on everything, and then it becomes kind of the band-aid that's supposed to fix things. But does it really? No, right? When you look at wokeism in general, I feel like it's become more of a divisive thing than anything else, right? Whereas if you look at it in the 30s, I think the main aspect of the way that they were thinking of stay woke back then was to actually think critically for yourself as opposed to
Yeah,
let's
Yeah.
just listen to
that's a
this
good point.
person, right? So if you look at the actual meaning now versus back then, it's very, very different.
I'm curious, Chris, what do you have to say about that?
I completely agree with what Josh just said. I agree. It's used now very divisively, whereas back then they were talking about real injustice that was being done, and they were talking about kind of make sure you're aware of that. And so it was uniting people, whereas now, like Josh was saying, it's very much so our way or the highway as far as the woke mob goes. If you don't think like us, we're going to cancel you, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So it's more so a divisive term where it actually originated as more of a term of inclusive.
And
Yeah.
you know the interesting thing too is, and Trinity, I want you to jump in on this, is it seems like it's been used as a divisive term from both sides. It's not like I don't see this as anybody's fault. Trinity, what do
Yeah.
you think?
Well, it was interesting. I like what Josh said about critical thinking because nowadays I feel like especially young people who are here, it says, "Are you woke?" Yeah, I'm woke, and there's like, what does that mean? It's like I don't know. It's just what I think I'm supposed to be. Whereas
Yeah.
instead of challenging young people to actually think for themselves and do their own research, it's like we all have a longing to belong. So we're just I agree.
Now, wait, I'm curious. So, with the push of, being aware of social injustice, obviously in the last few years, it seems like this term may have been used as like solidarity for everybody.
I think it was attempted to, right? Like that was the attempt was, yeah, let's use this as kind of a slogan, right? Black Lives Matter, all that kind of stuff. It was a major push to kind of use it as that, but I think I think the way that they missed the mark was there was just so much backlogged emotion almost over even from the 30s up until say what
Yes.
happened in 2020, right? All that backlogged emotion got released all at once and it became get woke or get the out,
Yeah.
right? And that's what it was. And it's like that's not the way to go about actually creating progressive change. That's creating kind of authoritarian change where it's like you need to listen and you need to listen now.
Authoritarian on what side? Is there a side?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's two sides for sure, but I mean, I'm speaking from the aspect of especially like Black Lives Matter and all of that kind of stuff. It was very much so you need to listen or just I don't want to hear your opinion, right? Which and like myself, I was also very guilty of that too, where like when rioting and stuff was happening and like I'd have people, commenting being like, "Oh, well, they shouldn't be doing that." And I would tell people to shut up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's where like yeah, there was definitely I recognize it from the emotional aspect of the
Yeah.
feelings that I was experiencing at that time. And just
Yeah, sorry, I really want to jump in here.
yeah.
Trinity, if we used the word woke, would it be like cultural appropriation now? Like, is that the definition of it? I guess because it went from solidarity to now something different. Is
Yeah.
that cultural appropriation?
I mean, I think that this word has, like you said, it's taken on new meaning. So I feel like it's a bit hard to tell now.
I think it kind of defines a viewpoint where you look at everything in the world as power struggles. So when you're saying I'm woke or you're looking at things through like a woke perspective, you're looking at everything from an oppressor and an oppressed class. And that's how it originated. But now we're taking that out of context where everything is oppressing everything else, and there's
Yeah.
always like kind of very divisive. These people are oppressing these people, this is what's happening, this is hurting this, and that's kind of the viewpoint or the worldview that people who would identify as woke, or we would call woke today, those are the worldviews that they tend to have.
Chris, I appreciate it. Guys, I appreciate it. When we come back, we're going to be looking at why it changed. What changed the word woke? What changed its definition?